This tutorial will focus on Jetpack Compose, and in the Jetpack Compose tutorial, we'll be building this view by HelloLab. It's a mobile marketing UI screen. I'll be building this view section in the middle using Jetpack Compose for the Android native platform. So to get started with this tutorial, first you head into the repository link which I'll be providing down in the description below. And when you're here, you click and select the starter branch and clone the starter branch using this link. When you will clone the starter branch, you will be presented with this, and you head into the main activity of Kotlin file, and this is what you'll be presented with. Just a simple main activity. The only changes I've done is I've created a content composable function in which we'll be coding all our layouts in. I also added some array lists of objects which we'll be using later in the tutorial video. So without further ado, let's get right into the video. Firstly, if we have a look into the UI, we can divide the UI into the app bar, I'll call it top bar 2, the bottom navigation bar, and the main section. More detail in the main section, we have the search bar. We have another section which contains a horizontal scroll view, or we'll call it a recycler view for those coming from XML background. And on the bottom section, we'll be having titles, action button. Then we'll have a recycler view. This time it's vertical. So let's first start with the top app bar. So we're heading to the main activity, and in our content composable function, we'll first be creating a scaffold. What's a scaffold? So basically, according to Google, a Jetpack Compose scaffold is a pre-designed layout component in the Jetpack Compose UI toolkit, which provides a basic structure for creating a screen and Android app. A scaffold is a layout which implements a basic material design layout structure. You can add things like top bar, bottom bar, floating action buttons, a drawer, and many more. So what it provides is predefined slots on a mobile phone UI that you can just insert the different day-to-day components that will see all our day-to-day apps without the hassle of positioning them yourself. So to create a scaffold, we'll do create a scaffold. In here, we'll have a top bar. We'll open it since it takes in a composable, and if we look at our design properly, let me zoom in, we will have a row which will contain a column of two texts and an image. So we'll create a row. Now we'll have a modifier. You'll fill the max width, and you have a padding of all of 32 ZP. Inside this row, we want the items to be horizontally arranged, space between, so each view is pushed to the extreme ends, and also vertically, center vertical. So they'll be both on the same y-axis. One won't be on top of the other, one won't be below. So in this row, first we have a column. This column will give you any modifier. You contain two text views. The first will be welcome back. You have a text of welcome back. With a font size of 16 SP, which is the standard for text sizes. It will have a color of gray, color.gray. We have another text view. Which contains the text of Carolina Turner. So to be faster, I will just open this on my second screen so I can just read and code along. Okay, so it will be Carolina Turner. You have a font size of 20 sp and a font width. You have to make it bold, so it will be bold. Let me close this quickly and open up this quickly. We are done with this. Now let's move on to the profile view. It has to be a round image with a notification badge. Both of them are round. So for that, I'll use a box. Inside this box, this is tax items on the Z stack. I'll put an image. And you have a painter resource of how to dribble. If you clone the project, the image within cloning the project is called profile. Content description too important for the disabled, so they can know what's happening in your app. The profile picture. Content scale of fit. And now let's give it a modifier. Send this to the next line. Let's give it a size. Yeah, let's give it a size of 55 TP. Clip. Let's clip it to give it a rounded corner shape. Then on top of that image, we want to create a round notification button. On top of that image, we want to create the notification badge. So create another box, and in this box we'll give it a modifier. Type is not possible. Modifier, and let's give it a round. Let's give it a round shape. I'll give it a circle shape. Let's give it a border. Let's give it a border stroke with a width of 3 dp and a color of black. Also give it a background color of black, and align this box. We align this box in the box to the bottom left or bottom start, which is better called. So I'll do the alignment bottom start. Perfect. Then in this box, let's not forget to have a count, which should be a text. We'll use a text view for that. So do text. We'll give it a text of 2, like we see on the image. It has a color of white because it's on a black background. Have a font width of both. Want to make it pop. Have a font size. Have a font size of 12 sp. Adding a modifier to modify and give it a padding of 3 to give it some space around. So we're done with the top bar. Let's run this on an emulator and have a look at it on the preview. One for an error, which is this? Oh, we have to consume. Let's just put a dummy text for the body. Let's make it empty. The modifier. Padding of it, and an error will go away. Okay, for the moment. So now let's run this on our preview and look at it. So let's have a look at this. So let's have a look at this on our preview. So this is perfect. As you can see, it looks just like this view here. Don't worry about the background. We will set the color when we're done with the layout. So now let's move to the bottom navigation bar. Since we're done with the top bar, let's collapse this so we can have more space. So implementing a bottom navigation bar. In the scaffold, we'll type in bottom bar. Thank you. To complete, open it since it expects a composable, and we'll create a composable bottom app bar. As always, we'll give it a modifier, and correct me if I'm wrong. If by default it fills the max width, but just to be safe, I'll make it to fill the max width. And still in this, I'll give it a background. With the background color, what's this? With the background color of this color, I think I call it width. Well, I'll call it width. The project is called width. So do color resource. This is how you read resources from the drawables folder, the color folder, and what have you. This is how you read resources from the Android project. So br.color.width, like I call it. Thank you. So in the bottom bar, we'll be having 3 menus, or we'll call it 3 bottom navigation items. So a bottom bar by default is a row layout. So we don't need to create a row layout to insert our 3 navigation items in a row layout, then set them at whatever. We don't need to do that. Thank you, Jetpack Compose. So we'll create our first bottom navigation item. Thank you. Is selected. I think this one is selected by default, so I'll say true. On click, we'll do nothing, and in here I'll create an icon because we have icons. So it's icon, and I'll create image vector assets. The image of the icon will be, well, I won't import all those images. Jetpack Compose provides default icon images, so I can just access it by typing icons dot, and notice the outline, but when you be selected, you'll be filled. So I'll get the outline. OS will fill it for me, and then it'll be icons or outline dot home. That's the closest you could find. Not forgetting the content description. Oh my god. Oh, many mistake. It's not supposed to be like this. Close this here. Close this, comma. And call it icon equals to this. Thank you. No need to type this, so I'll just copy it and paste it twice. 1, 2. Selected false, false. And this was the name of this icon. The closest thing I could find for this was the account box. The closest thing to is dead, obviously, is a settings. Cool. Let's have a preview of this. I don't know why my ID keeps tripping. I don't have a live view of my code, and I need to rebuild. I need to rebuild all the time on how to see changes. So I don't know if this is a problem with LGL. Since I updated it, I'll be having this issue. So we finally finished building, and we can see it. And this is our bottom navigation view. It's selected, but it's still outlined. I think I'll take fields. Yes, that's better. Here is fields and others are outlined. Here is fields and these others are outlined. So okay, that's better. So now we are done with the bottom bar. Not forgetting, I'll also provide additional resources below. There's a very useful site I used when I started learning Jetpack Compose. You can find the different widgets, the explanations of what they do, how to implement it, and how you can easily customize. Check the description below and you'll find a link to those in the additional resource section. So now we're done with the bottom bar. Let's close this, and now let's move into the main content, by which we'll be starting with the search bar. The most interesting part, the implementation of the main content. So we'll be starting with the search bar, which will be a bit not complicated, but it will be something. So firstly, for this middle section will be a column, because items will be stacked vertically. So let's make a column widget. In this column widget, I'll have a modifier. I have a modifier which consists in telling this column layout to occupy all the space available by using fill max size. Also, I'll give it a padding of, by default you're supposed to use the padding values provided by the scaffold to prevent any errors, and to use my own padding, I'll enter padding, and I just want padding start of 16 dp basically. Oh, the start is a problem here. Okay, thank you. So now in the column, we'll first implement the search bar. I'll create a new composable called search bar, because I don't want to clutter the scaffold with a lot of code, and also help us with readability. Do that, and we'll let Andres automatically create a composable function for us. In the search bar composable, this search bar, we have a text field. In that text field, we have it rounded corners. After the rounded corners, we need a leading icon, which will be search icon, and a placeholder text. So let's get into it. First, we create a text field, and value and value unchanged. We have to create a new state object for those. That will be remember mutable state of text field value, like this. Initial code. So for the value, we have text state dot value. Sorry, and on value change, we have text state. On value change will be open parenthesis. I have text state dot value is equals to it. So the interesting part now, let's have a modifier. I always like including modifier at the beginning of the statement. And what I'm modifying will make it to fill the max width, obviously, so it will fill all the width available to it. We'll give it a padding of 20 dp, so it doesn't touch this. With padding of 20 dp, just estimated. And of course, we'll give it a round corner shape, and the round corners of 20 dp. Let's rearrange this. Okay, so now let's give it a leading icon. Text a composable, add an icon widget, not an icon button, an icon widget image vector, since we'll be using the default icons provided by Jetpack compose fields search. Okay, don't forget the content description search icon. I heard content description ranks your app higher on the Play Store. Don't quote me on that. So now for the colors, since I said we need to have a white background, colors is a bit complicated since we need to create the text field defaults text field colors. In here, you can change the text color, and I'll give the color of gray. Give the background. Give the background color dot white. I promised. Let's run this and see how it looks like for the meantime. So you can't see the 100 edges because we are on a white background, but we'll be changing that now. But this is what we have. We have our listen icon. Let's change the background color. Change the background color as a whole. We need to go to the scaffold and insert it here. Background color, and the color resource of our dot color dot width, and voila. Let's build and have a look. So now we have the background color set, and now we can better see our search bar. You can see the rounded edges, listen icon. So we need to get this annoying indicator bar down here. It breaks the design. So how are we getting rid of this? I think we'll give it a color of white in all its states, because it has a focus state and focus and disable state. We'll just give it a value, like we'll just give it a color of, I think transparent will be better. We can't give you white, because if we give you white, you want to use it in another project, it won't match with the color of the background color of your search bar. If I want to use red and you see white and red, so let's better use transparent, so it just flushes the whole design and you can use it interchangeably anywhere. So it's called focused indicator color. I'll give it a color dot transparent. Disabled indicator color. I'll give it a color dot transparent. And on focus indicator color, I'll give it a color of transparent. Now we are sure we won't see the indicator bar. Let's move on to providing a placeholder text. Unfortunately, the placeholder text, this placeholder attribute takes a composable, fortunately, so it can be anything, but we just want the text, and the text says try to find 1, 2, 3 dots. I can extra and put 6 dots. It's the placeholder text has a color of gray, and the font size is a bit too big, minimal. We'll give a font size of 16 SP. And with this, we are done with our search bar. I hope we are done. Fingers crossed. Let's run this and preview it on our device. Okay, so well, kudos to us, we successfully rendered. So now let's move to this section. We'll be learning about the lazy rows and how to implement a lazy row. To implement the second section, let's first collapse the search bar to create more space. I think I also like to collapse this column. Okay, move this space. And before we move into implement the next view, let's not forget we have this space here. And for this space, we're going to use a spacer. So I'll use a spacer. It's called spacer. I'll give it a modifier. I will specifically tell it to use just a height of 25. Let me just say 30, because if we just create a spacer without specifying the height you should use, it's going to use all the available space you can use. Yeah, just like giving it a weight of 1 in XML. So after giving the spacer, create the heading text. By heading text, we mean this task-based explanation process. So follow me, create the text composable. In here we have the text, and the text is task-based. We won't create two composables. We are not going to create two composables for this. This is just a heading. I don't think it will be loaded from a server. It was a very production application. This will be just a heading. So, not to create two different text views, which will cause it to be more difficult to manage on the long run. I'm just going to give it a new line, /n, new line, and explanation process. Cool. We'll give it a font width of bold, like you saw this color. We'll give it a color of black. Saw this coming too. A font size, like it's obvious because it's gigantic, of 30 sp. And not forgetting a modifier. And what are we modifying? We are modifying its padding value. Want a padding start of 16 dp and bottom of 20 dp. Start of 16, bottom of 20, so it doesn't collide with the next view down below or section. So let's have a look at this on the preview. So perfect. We have this. So after implementing a heading, we have to implement the lazy row. First, let's implement the items. We have two distinct items. We have the leading item, which is this, with a dashed border, a button, and some text. Also, we have the second distinct item, rounded border, white background, text, and text. So let's start by implementing this dashed. So first we have to create a widget that will accommodate items for the recycler view, or the lazy row as it's meant to be called. So recycler view, lazy row. First we'll have a modifier, and we'll tell it to fill the max available width. Fill the max available width, and we'll give the items a horizontal arrangement of arrangement, not space between, not space evenly, but space by, because if you see this, there is a space between each item. If not, all the items will be squashed together when rendered. So arrangement does piece, no capital S, small s, space by, actually method, 20 So we'll leave this empty for now, and let's implement the first item, which we'll call the leading row item. Do this. The IntelliJ helps me to create a composable function which will contain this. So in the leading row item, what will we have? We have a box, a round corner radius with a dashed border, and inside we have a column which contains a button text, or we can just use another box which contains a text, but we'll use a button and a text view. So for the leading row item, except we have a box. Start with the modifier. It's going to be heavy on modifiers. I'll give it a width of what we have a fixed width, a width of 190 dp. We have a padding start of 16 dp. So we have a width of 190, a padding start of 16 dp, which will add to the default 16, so it will be flushed with the heading. Now we need to have this dashed border, which is also rounded on the corners. For that, we'll use the draw behind, since we're drawing behind the box. Behind the box, we'll be drawing a round rectangle, right? It will have a color of gray, corner radius of 8 dp 2 pixels, and a style, not forgetting a style of stroke, which will give it the dash effect. And here you have each stroke will have a width of 2f, which is in floats, and a path effect, which will give the effect of the path. You give it a dash effect. Path effect. The dashed path effect. The dashed path effect. For the intervals, which is a float array, will be a float array of 10f. Just copy 10f. It makes more sense as we move on. A float of 0f. No need for float. And still in the box, the contents will be aligned to the center. Okay, that's a lot of code. Don't worry about it. So that I'll be able to the box that contains elements. So now within the box, let's have a promised column. The modifier, which tells it to have a padding all around of 20 dp. Just a padding all around of 20 dp. If not, you start here. So let's take more space in this column. First, we'll have a button. No onClick method. the button will have a color. Okay, color, so let's use default dot text button colors, and in here we change the background color of the button to color resource, a green color, to this green color. I'll call it green, or however you will call it. And the button should have a rounded corner radius, so we'll give it a modifier. And clip it the shape of rounded corner radius, corner shape of 15 dB. Cool. So now I'll show the buttons around the corners. And here's a text at the center. Text is at task. That's the font width of bold. A font size of 18 sp, and a color of black, if I'm right, a color of black. Use the code, and that's all for our button. Nope, sorry, color dot black. Let's close button body. First, below this button we have a spacer, then we have a text. Not only a spacer, let's do a vertical arrangement, space between. That's better. So after the button we have text. The text is creative for branding. It's a font size of 18 sp and a color of black. Alright, yep, color of black considered. So let's have a preview. Let's have a preview of this in our preview layout. Okay, cool. Oops, we have a problem here. Oh, I see. See why? We'll give it space between, but we are in a kind of wrap content situation because we didn't give it a fixed height to this column. So we're going to get rid of this and use a spacer instead. We are going to use a spacer of the height of 20. Spacer, power autocomplete, use file dot a height of 20 dB. Okay, so by doing that, it has fixed our problem. We have rounded corners, but they're not as rounded as we want it to be. So I think our problem is here. After the stroke, I'll insert corner radius of 8 pixels. And this will do the trick. Fix our border problem. As you can see here, is fixed. You just have to increase the corner radius. I just give it a value of 20. It was 8. So now let's create the second type of, we just call it item in the explanation process, lazy row. So let's go to our lazy row, and as next item group, we'll be iterating through each element of the process list of array at the top of the content function, and for each of these items we'll be creating a row item. So under this, we create another group of item, and this time will be items. It takes in an array list. We'll pass it the process list. Open a lambda. It returns to us the item. I'll call it process. And in here, we'll pass it to a function, to a composable function called process item. I'll pass in the process. We hope our Android Studio to help us to create a composable function, process string. Okay, so now let's implement this. So a process item will look basically the same as a leading row item, with difference of just not having a dashed border and the background be white instead of, you know, the transparent or white background. So we'll start this box, and in this box we'll have a modifier of modifier. We'll set the width. The width will be a bit larger than the previous listing item row. Right. We'll clip it. We'll give it the circular border. Circular radius around the corner shape. We'll do the corner shape, and the corners will be 20 dp. And not forgetting the background color. No background with the color of color dot white. Perfect. Now in this box, the box will contain a column. First a modifier to modify our padding of all around 20. Now the column will contain, let's see, we'll make this be a box with rounded corners which contains a text view in the center. Then the box will have this with color as background. Before, we'll create a spacer, then we'll create a text object. So let's do that now. So first we'll create the box which will contain the text. Modifier, we'll clip it, we'll give it rounded corner shape of 10 dp. We'll give it a background of the width color, and we'll get the width color from the resource file. So out of color dot width. The contents of the box should be aligned to the center. Type the center to call it purpose. Wow. In the box, in the box we have a text view which has a text of was it review. The font width of bold, a color dot black. Don't forget the modifier, which modify all around padding so it doesn't touch the edges of the don't touch the edges, or it creates a space. It creates a space within this edge. With our text set, we move on to the text set. We exit the box. Let's see our code. We exit the box. Let's close this, create more space. We include our spacer as promised. And give it a height of 20 dp. And finally, this text So where are we getting this text from? Since we'll be generating these items from a list of array, like we mentioned above, and we'll pass it to each of these composable as process. So this text will be process with a font size of 18 sp and a color of black. You can stick it. So let's run this and see how it looks like on the preview. So we can see from the preview that we're spot on with the design. Let's just switch to interactive mode so we can interact with this list view. So if we scroll, you can see the items. Launch process, we call it whatever hotel. Launch process, we call it the second item. Verification process with sim is the second item. As you can see, the text was set. Perfect. Let's exit interactive mode. Now let's move on to the second and final section, which will be this section. Firstly, let's not forget our space before we implement this row containing a text, an action icon, and another text. Then a space, then we have another lazy column with two items, floating action button, text, another text, a divider. So let's implement this. First, we collapse this lazy row to create more space. I'll link this. And then this bottom section. Flow section. Firstly, we have a space. First, we have a spacer. Which will give a height of 30 GP. Not to be greedy, space, because we have enough. And now we have a row, and we have a modifier, and let's tell it to fill max and with a passing individually. I will set the start passing of 16 TP and the end to 16 TP. This can be simplified to horizontal 16 TP. Yeah, and shorter. Horizontal is left and right, vertical is top and bottom. We'll give it the horizontal alignment of to space the items between each other, and a vertical alignment of bottom. Because if we look here, this second view will be at the bottom. If not, you will be in the middle of this. I'll put the vertical, give the vertical alignment of bottom. Everything's at the bottom of the view holder, or the bottom of the row. So the content of our row, let's have a section, which will be a row, obviously, because it's a text and the action button. I just want to give the vertical alignment. I'll center it vertically, and for horizontal arrangement will be space between. Perfect. We have a text. The text equals to flows list. We'll give it a width of bold. The color will be black, and not forgetting the font size, which has to be large enough. Like on the design of, give it 30 sp. Yeah, large enough. 30 sp, just like the other heading above of the process, whatever. We have a text. After the text, we have this action button. So how I use, I can use an icon that in your design it can be implemented as a button. That when you toggle, it will show extra options. So let's use an icon button. So that kind of button. Complete action, won't do anything. Icon button. Add an icon to it. And like with image vector settings, we're using the default Jetpack compose icon pack icons dot default dot arrow drop down. That's the content description options menu. Simple as that. The arrows have a color of black. I think yes, arrows have a color of black. Color dot black color. Perfect. Then this section is done. I close it to make up more space. Then we have a row. After the row, we have a text view, which is the text. Says see all. That's a color of gray. Color of gray and a small font with the font size of 16 SB. Yeah, I think that'll be small enough. So let's run this and have a look. I'm going to enter vertically. That's why it's not flushing down here. So let's enter this, the main section, and enter vertically and bottom. Yes, that's better. Okay, now we are done with this view. Move to creating a lazy column. First, we have to create this item. Yes, I'll call it the flow item. Before we can go to implement lazy column, we'll do a spacer, space out the items. Autocomplete, you want to help me on that one. Give it a height of 20 dp. Now, sorry, have a lazy column. The content first of a vertical arrangement of, you guessed it, arrangement dot space by, our space number is 60 dp. Space number is 60 dp vertically. In here, since I'll already be adding a divider between all items except the last item, I'll need to get the index of the code item that has to be rendered to know if it's not the last item he adds a divider, else he doesn't add a divider. So we won't have a divider at this end, at the end of the last item, which won't be presented. So for this, we won't use items, we'll use items indexed. So we can get the index from the lambda callback. Text flows according to array, or we get information with flows. Open the lambda, sorry, wait, I'll get the index and the flow with my array. I'll be injecting into a composable that we'll create now called low item. Sounds better. I'll pass in a flow. With the help of Android Studio, let's auto generate a consumable function and implement flow item. So this is a row. The row contains two items, which will be a column and an icon button. That's basically it. So let's first start with our row. Of a modifier. Figma suite. Give it some padding. Horizontal padding so it doesn't touch the edges of 16 degree. And a horizontal arrangement of space between this gap here. So inside, let's level this left column. Have a column which has a vertical arrangement of space between, and don't forget the comma, and a horizontal alignment of start. So it should start from the beginning, so it won't be centered or the end. So in the column we have two text views. The first text view contains a text of flow dot capitalized words. It's a bit like initcap. It capitalizes the first character of each word, separated by comma, separated by space, comma, or special characters. It's a special extension function I created right here. Text will have a color of black, mostly. We are using this. We have a font width of bold and a font size of 22 sp. Our second text just be light text 3 minutes ago. Here's the text of, I'll be hard coding this value since I've already showed how you can insert values in a composable function from your custom array of objects. When working on big projects, you have array of objects. Those objects contain many different attributes which each has its purpose in how the item will look like. Some will contain the name, contain the timestamp, is selected, and what have you. Yeah, 3 minutes ago. Of the color, with the color gray. Yes. The font size is a little bit small, of 15 sp. That's it for the left section. Now for the right section, we can create some space. For the right section, we know all we have is just a round button, a bit just like a float action button, but we can't implement a float action button here. It's not good UI, especially UX, or if it's none of that, it's not good programming. So let's create an icon button. Do one click, of course. I'll give it an icon. Image vector, because we're using the defaults, and will be icons dot field dot add. I would have said plus. What do you know? And add button. Of course, you have a tint of black. Yes. The tint images, they don't color images. And now let's have a pattern, but we should have a pattern of 7 all around. Give it a modifier. 7 GB. Alright. Mac users Option Command L, Windows users Control Alt L to format the code automatically. The more you know. Icon button. Let's not forget we want it round. So I'll clip it with a rounded corner shape of 50 GP. That's like half. You make it completely round. We can give it a circle shape. What do you think? Let's just use circle shape. Perfect. And to that we have a background color of green. Just the color of the source. Dot color dot green. It was not specify color. Goes to this. If it's a first item, you can just do this. So let's run our code and see how it looks like on a preview, and hopefully we nail the design. Okay, that's nice. So we nailed the design. What's left is, for my judgment, is I find this text a little large. Oh well, it's fine. What's left is what do you have left? The divider. So we need to add a divider. So let's go to a lazy column, and after this, let's do a little check before adding a divider. So if index is less than the index of the last item, so we'll get the flows array to get the last index of the flows array. If the index is less than that, then we're not in the last item. We can add a divider to the bottom. So divider, we'll give a color to our divider, which should be light green. First time using light green. Color green. A thickness. And give it a modifier. Modifier, we give it a padding. Horizontal, so it does not run from end to end. Padding horizontal of 16 GB. And padding top of 16 GB. So it does not start directly at the bottom of this. Let's run this code and see how the final product looks like. Okay, now we can see our divider. So let's run this onto our emulator and see how it looks like. Okay, Jetpack Compose project has finished compiling, and this is the end result on our physical device, as you can see on the design. So I have this, it's codable. Now we have this, complete, supporting, complete. So this was a long tutorial, but if you made it to the end, thank you for watching the video. Don't forget to drop a like, follow, and push the notification bell. Don't forget to subscribe. It will mean a lot to me. In this channel, we'll be making many more videos. I'm waiting for more suggestions in the comments of UIs and what more topics I can do to satisfy you. And also, if you have any worries, please write them down in the comment section. Additional resources and information about Jetpack Compose will be included in the description. Make sure you pass there and have a read. And without taking much of your time, I will see you guys in another video. Bye.